Good morning, algebra classes. This is your video for Wednesday, October 28th. We are going to be doing more inequalities today, but we're going to be doing some inequalities that are more detailed than the ones we've been doing so far. They're going to have more steps to them. But we have done problems like this before when we did multi-step equations. So today, we're going to be doing multi-step inequalities. Multi-step inequalities. So these are going to be inequality problems. They're going to remind you of some of the multi-step equations we've learned before, and they're going to incorporate the things we've learned the past few days, like when to flip inequality signs. So let's try an example of problems like the ones you're going to see today. Let's do 2 parentheses t minus 1 plus 3t is less than 2. This is our first example for today, and I know that looks crazy, but this should bring back some memories to you because we're going to have to distribute. Remember distributing? Then we're going to have to combine like terms. Remember that? Is this bringing back memories like the corners of my mind? Misty watercolored memories of the way we were. All right, there was your little concert. Now let's get to distributing. To solve this, I need to use the distributive property. I need to take this number 2 and give it to the t, and take this number 2 and give it to the 1. And by giving it 2, I mean multiply. So we're going to take 2 times t, which is 2t, write down this minus sign, then give the 2 to the 1. 2 times 1 is 2. That gets rid of the parentheses for us. Now we can write down the rest of the problem. The rest of the problem was plus 3t is less than 2. My next step to solving this problem is going to be to combine like terms. That means to put together mega blocks and mega blocks, and put together Legos and Legos. But remember, you can't take a mega block and click it together with a tiny little Lego. So we can only put together things that are alike, things that have the same variables. So I can put together this 2t and this plus 3t. If I have 2 t's and I have 3 t's, that makes 5 t's altogether. 2t plus 3t makes 5t. Then I have this minus 2. There's nothing else here on the left side of the inequality to put together with that, so I just write it down. Minus 2, and then write down this part, is less than 2. All right, now this is the kind of problem we were solving yesterday and the day before, where we have to do this 2-step inequality. We have to get rid of the minus 2, and we have to get rid of the times t. They are subtracting 2, so I'm going to add 2 to both sides of this inequality, plus 2. The 2's cross off. You have 5t on the left is less than 4. And then your last step, you have to see what's being done to t. They're multiplying by 5, so you need to divide by 5. Divide by 5. The 5's cross off, and we have t equals 4 divided by 5, I think, is 0.8. Let me just check. It is 0.8. So it is okay if you get a decimal as an answer, that's all right. One last thing, I just want to check, did I have to flip my inequality sign at all? I don't think so, because I did not divide by a negative number, and I did not have to flip the variable and the answer. So I don't have to flip my sign at all. So this is the answer. Why did I put equals? That's silly. It should be less than. There we go. And we are not going to graph our answers today. I could make you do that, but that's just one extra step. And we already had 1, 2, 3, 4 steps to have to get our answer. I think that's enough. Let's do another problem similar to this. Let's see. Let's do another one that has parentheses and like terms in it. 3t plus 1 minus 4t is greater than or equal to -5. We are going to start by getting rid of these parentheses. We have to distribute to get rid of those parentheses. So take the 3 and give it to the t. That'll be 3t. Write down the plus sign. Take the 3 and give it to the 1. 3 times 1 is 3. Then write down what you have left. We have minus 4t is greater than or equal to -5. Our next step can be to combine like terms. Let's see. I have 3 t's, and I need to take away 4 t's. If you type into your calculator 3 minus 4, it gives you -1 t. I'm going to keep that 1 there. You could erase the 1 and make it invisible. I'm going to keep it there for now, and you'll see why in a minute. So this makes -1t, and then I have this plus 3 sitting next to it. I can't combine this with anything, so you just write it down. Let me draw this line to show the different sides of the inequality. And I still have -5 over here. That hasn't changed. The sign hasn't changed. Now, I distributed. I combined like terms. Now I have a two-step inequality. They are multiplying by -1 and adding 3. So to solve this inequality, I'm going to start by subtracting 3 from both sides. Minus 3. The 3's cross off. And I have -1t on the left. -5 minus 3 is -8. Use those calculators if you're not great with integers. Put the sign between them. We have not flipped the sign. All we did was subtract 3. We didn't divide by a negative number. Oh, one more step. T is being multiplied by a -1, so I'm going to have to divide both sides by a -1. Divide by -1. The 1's cross off. I have t on the left. I have 8 on the right. Same sign, positive. And do I have to switch the sign? Yes, I do. I divided by a -1 right here. I divided both sides by a negative number. You need to make it less than or equal to. This is a lot of work for one problem, isn't it? This is a lot of work. If you write down your steps, you're less likely to make a mistake, so make sure you're showing your work. Let's do another one. Let's do one that has variables on both sides. Oh, the memories that come flooding back. Remember equations with variables on both sides? Those were the days. 6n minus 1 is greater than 3n plus 8. 6n minus 1 is greater than 3n plus 8. Let's show the two sides of this inequality. There they are. This is the left side, this is the right side. With these kind of problems, where you have a variable on the left and a variable on the right, you have to get all the variables on one side. When we learned this with equations, I told you it doesn't matter. You can move the 6n over here, or you can move the 3n over here. Doesn't matter which one you do. But I also told you that my personal preference was to always move the small one, because you end up with dealing with less negative numbers that way. So, which is smaller, 6n or 3n? 3n. So that's the one I'm going to decide to do the opposite of. Over here on this side, 3n is being added to something. So to get rid of it, I'm going to subtract 3n from both sides. I'm going to subtract away 3n. These 3n's cross off on the right, and you have 8 all by itself. So there are no more n's on the right-hand side. That's what I want to happen. I want all the n's to be over here on the left. 6n minus 3n is 3n. If you have 6 n's and you take away 3 n's, you have 3 n's left. Then you write this down right here, minus 1. Let me think. Do you think we should flip the sign, the inequality sign? I don't think so. This is subtraction. We subtracted something. You don't flip the sign for subtraction. You flip it for dividing by or multiplying by a negative number. So we subtracted, so we're not going to flip. That's going to say greater than right now. Now, this is a regular two-step inequality like we did yesterday and the day before in class. They're subtracting 1. I need to add 1 to both sides. When you add 1, you get 9 on the right. There's the greater than sign. Those cross off. We have 3n on the left. 3n is greater than 9. N is being multiplied by 3. We have to do the opposite and divide by 3. Divide by 3. The 3's cross off. N is on the left. 3 is on the right. Should I switch the sign? Nope, doesn't look like it. I divided by a positive number. I didn't divide by a negative number. So this sign is going to stay the same. N is greater than 3. All right, I have 2 more examples to show you. There are 2 special cases in these kind of multi-step problems that you need to see. My 5th period, you have seen these special cases before with equations, but my 4th period class, you have not seen these. We didn't get to these in your class, but we're going to give them a try now. And we'll see how you do with them. If these are super, super confusing to you, 4th period class, we'll talk about it when I come back on Friday, and we'll see how you did with them and if you understand them. So don't freak out about these, okay? All right. Here's a special example. 10 minus 8a is greater than or equal to 2 parentheses, 5 minus 4a. Let's solve this problem and see what happens. First things first, I see parentheses, and I don't want those parentheses there. In order to solve this, I got to get rid of these parentheses. So I'm going to distribute the 2. I give the 2 to the 5. 2 times 5 is 10. I write down the minus sign. 2 times 4a is 8a. So far, the problem is 10 minus 8a is greater than or equal to 10 minus 8a. Let's get all the a's on one side. How about if we put all the a's over here? Let's do that. So let's see, they're subtracting 8a's. So to do the opposite, to get rid of this 8a right here, put all the a's on the left side, I have to do the opposite of minus 8a. I'm going to add 8a to both sides. When I do that, those cross off. Minus 8a plus 8a makes 0. I have 10 left on the right. On the left side, minus 8a plus 8a, that makes 0. They cross each other off. All of my a's are gone. That's so weird. All I have left is 10. So what I have left in this inequality is this statement. 10 is greater than or equal to 10. Is that a true statement? Is 10 greater than 10 or equal to 10? Yes, that is a true statement because 10 is equal to 10. And because it says the word or, not and, 10 is greater than or equal to 10 because 10 is equal to 10. This right here is a true statement, and there are no variables there. What that means is no matter what number I put in for A, if I take any number I want, it could be negative 4,600,000.25 and put it here for A and put it here for A. This will be a true statement. That means when you get an inequality at the end and it is a true statement, that means the answer is all real numbers. Every single real number in the whole entire universe is an answer to this inequality. When you end up getting a true statement that doesn't have any variables in it, it means the answer is all real numbers. I'm going to say it one more time. It doesn't matter what number you put into this equation for A, because when you're solving it, the A's go away. There are no A's at the end. All you will be left with is the statement 10 is greater than or equal to 10, and that's a true statement. So the answer is all real numbers. When you're doing your workbook today, if you end up with a true statement, the answer is all real numbers. Let's do one last example. There's one more weird situation that could happen when we're solving these problems. Here it is. 6m minus 5 is greater than 7m plus 7 minus m. Let's solve it. There aren't any parentheses, but there is something here where I can combine like terms. I can put together 7m minus m. Remember that there's an invisible 1. When there's no number in front of the variable, there's an invisible 1 there. If I have 7 m's and I subtract away one of those m's, I have 6 m's left. This is 6m. I can't combine it with the plus 7. I just write that down, plus 7. On the left side of the inequality, it stays the same. Okay, that was step 1. Step 2 is I've got to get all the m's on one side. I've got 6 m's here and 6 m's there. They're equal to each other, so it doesn't matter which one I move. So I'll get rid of this one and get all the variables on the left side. I think that'll work. I think that'll be nice. I always like to have the variables on the left. So if we have a plus 6m over here and I want to get rid of it, I need to subtract 6m from both sides. I need to subtract 6m. 6m minus 6m makes 0. I have 7 on the right-hand side. On the left side, I forgot to draw my line. On the left side of the inequality, 6m minus 6m, wait a minute, that's 0. That's going to get rid of all my m's, just like in the last problem. I'm not going to have any m's left. I am left, though, with minus 5 or negative 5. Don't flip the sign because we didn't divide by a negative number. We subtracted. So this is what I'm left with. Negative 5 is greater than 7. Think about that statement. Negative 5 is greater than 7. Is negative 5 greater than 7? Is it bigger than 7? Not last time I checked. This is a false statement. When I solved this equation, all the variables ended up going away, and I'm left with something that is not true. This is a false statement. This is a lie. What that means is this whole equation up here, this whole inequality up here, is a lie. It's not true. That means there is no answer. There is no answer. Of all the numbers in the entire universe, there is not one number that you can put into this equation for m that will make this true. I'm sorry, I keep saying equation, but I mean inequality. Because when you go to solve it, you always end up with this line, -5 is greater than 7, and that's not true. So the answer is, there is no answer. That does not mean the answer is 0. The answer is not 0. The answer is, there is no answer. Another way to write this, there is no answer, is called empty set. You draw a 0 and you put a line through it. This is not the number 0. This stands for the words, there is no answer. So those last two problems I know were weird. Just remember when you're solving these equations today in class, if you come up with one where it ends up with a false statement, when all the variables go away and there's a false statement, the answer is there is no answer. If you end up that all the variables go away and you have a true statement right here, that means that all the numbers in the world are the answer. So that's it. That's our lesson for today. So this is kind of a review of when we learned all this as equations, all these multi-step equations. This kind of came back to haunt us today in multi-step inequalities. If you still have that handout I gave you a long time ago with all the different kinds of equation problems on it, that double-sided gold paper, that's going to help you today, so you might want to have that out. Let's do some workbook problems. And let me pause a second so I can find my workbook. Found it. We're going to do workbook page 91, which is a page that we did a few days ago, but we didn't do all the problems on the page. We only did the top 6. This is page 91. We are going to do numbers 7, 8, 10. Then we're going to do 15 and 16. 7, 8, 10, 15, and 16 on page 91. You can unpause the video when you're ready to go over the answers. See you in a few minutes. All right, algebra. Here are our answers. I have to read my teeny tiny answers with my magnifying glass. Let me see. Number 7 is k is greater than or equal to -6. K is greater than or equal to -6. Number 8 is C is greater than 1.5. C is greater than 1.5. Number 10 is Y is less than or equal to 1. Y is less than or equal to 1. Number 15 is no solution. There are no answers. Number 15, you would have gotten 2 different numbers on the different sides of the equation. So the answer is there is no answer. And number 16, the answer is all real numbers. Every answer in the universe is an answer for number 16. Let's go over number 10. Let's do number 10 together. We have 22 is greater than or equal to 5, 2y plus 3 in parentheses, minus 3y. There's a lot going on in this problem, so we have to do one thing at a time. First things first, I see parentheses. We can't have that. If we need to solve for the variable, we're going to end up having to get rid of these parentheses. So let's distribute. We're going to have to distribute the 5. 5 times 2y is 10y. Write down the plus sign. 5 times 3 is 15. Now we write down the rest of the problem. There's a minus 3y over here. We keep the sign the same. There's a 22 on the left. Our next step is that we can combine like terms. We can put together the y's. If I have 10y minus 3y, if I have 10 pencils and I take away 3 pencils, I have 7 pencils. 10y minus 3y is 7y. Then write down the rest of the problem. Plus 15, write down the sign, write down the 22 on the left. Now I have a regular two-step inequality that I can solve. Let's see here. Give me another color. Y is being multiplied by 7, and they're adding 15. So I am going to subtract 15 from both sides. When I subtract 15 from both sides, I'm left with 7y greater than or equal to 22 minus 15 is 7. Then my last step, y is being multiplied by 7. I need to divide by 7. Divide both sides by 7. When I divide by 7, I get 1 on the left, y on the right, greater than or equal to in between them. Now I'm almost done. I'm done with all the hard stuff, but I can't leave my answer with the number on the left and the variable on the right. We need to switch it so that the variable is on the left. We're going to put y on the left, and we're going to put 1 on the right. And what do I do the sign when I do that? Flip it. That is correct. So it is y is less than or equal to 1. When you switch the variable and the number at the end, you have to flip the sign. Let's do one more problem. Let's do one of those weird ones at the bottom. Let me see. Let's do number 16. Let's do number 16. It says negative 5r plus 15 is greater than or equal to negative 5 parentheses r minus 2. To solve this, I have to distribute. I have to get rid of the parentheses. So I'm going to distribute the negative 5. Give the negative 5 to the r. That would be negative 5r. Write down this minus sign. Give the negative 5 to the 2. Negative 5 times 2 is negative 10. Some of you probably just shouted out at me, oh, there's minus a negative sign. I know. What does minus a negative sign make? Gigantic plus sign. That's right. Write down the rest of the problem. All right. Now we have to solve this. Let's get all of the r's on one side of the equation. There are some r's on the left and there are some r's on the right. So let's get all the r's onto one side. Over here, I have a negative 5r. You can think of it as a negative 5r or a minus 5r. Either way, to get rid of this, you're going to have to add 5r to both sides. You're going to need to add 5r to both sides. You have negative 5r plus 5r. That makes 0. That crosses off. So on the right, I'm left with the number 10. I have a greater than or equal to sign in between them. On the left, I have negative 5r plus 5r. Oh, they cross off. They make 0. All of our variables are going away. And I have 15 right here. Now, this is one of those weird situations. When all of the variables go away, you need to ask yourself, is this statement true or is it false? Is 15 greater than or equal to 10? Let's think about that. Is 15 bigger than or equal to 10? Yes, it is. It's bigger than 10. 15 is greater than 10. That makes this a true statement. And it does not have to be equal to 10 as well. It's an either or situation. 15 is greater than or equal to 10. So if one of those is true, the whole thing is true. So this is a true statement. And in our notes today, I told you if you end up with no variables and you have a true statement, That means the answer is all real numbers. Here's how you abbreviate real numbers. You draw a capital R with an extra line in it. All right, gang, I'm all done for today. If you still have questions on the workbook problems, perhaps somebody who got the right answer could come up to the board and show you how it's done. Homework for tonight. Your homework for tonight is only going to be 3 problems. This is going to be page 190, page 190, which I think we had before. No, we didn't. Never mind. I don't know what I'm talking about. Page 190, we're going to do number 17, number 21, and number 35. And if memory suits me, I believe number 35 is one of those special problems where it's either going to be no answer or all of the answers. Make sure that you show work. You do have to show some work. You guys saw how much work I showed when I was solving these problems. You have to show me at least a little bit of something. All right, gang. Hopefully you have a great night, and I will talk to you tomorrow. And I love you guys, and I miss you. See you soon.